Well, I reached out to a girl who is a Facebook friend, and it's somebody I've been dripping on um, for quite a while. So I'll like maybe drip a little information, put it aside, follow up, 6 months or a year later. And I saw where she had posted something about vitamin C and how she is just a big believer in vitamin C. And she had quite a few comments coming on whether or not you shouldn't take vitamin C, whether or not you need it from food or whatever. So I actually went to her via Facebook message because I don't have like a phone number or email. Like we're not that good of friends, but I used that opportunity when she mentioned about vitamin C to share with her the bioavailability and vitamin C study. I don't know if y'all have seen that YouTube research video. And so I'd like to use the phrase, I thought of you because, or you came to mind because. So what I did was I said, hey, Carol, I just watched this video and thought of you because I had just seen your post on vitamin C. So that's how I reached out to her and shared that video. I don't have the rest of the story because she's gone out of town. Her first grandchild is due any moment. So she's out of town with her son and expecting daughter-in-law. But that was kind of how I used a research video to reach out.
Great. Well, I think that's really cool. I love the persistence of you just following up with her over and over. And I'm actually, do I know that video? I'm not sure that I do. Is it recent?
I can send it to you all or post it on Team Extreme. It's a really good one.
Yes. Would you?
Yeah, I'll post.
Yeah. I think it's cool just hearing, and I'm going to do a short kind of training where I just found it on the internet last night as I was just searching for just topics on follow-up. But I want to hear from each one of you because I think when we share what we're doing, the tools we're using, I think it expands our library of ideas, connections, tools. And so it's cool to hear from each one of you. So all of you have been Juice Plus partners for some time, except for Dot, but we still want to hear from you, Dot. And just to hear different processes, because when I hear them, it gets me fired up. It gives me more, just broadens my ability to connect with people. And so thank you, Allison, for sharing. I can't wait to see that post. So we're going to jump into, and I've got the recording going. Thank you for reminding me, Erin. Sometimes I forget about that. But we're going to talk about follow-up. And most of us on here have been partners for a while. So I think what we learned today, I would encourage you guys to go ahead and share it with your team, whether it's just verbally sharing what you learned or passing on the video. But I think this follow-up process to me is, you hear it said many a times, the fortune's in the follow-up, and it truly is. Because we can work our tail off making connection after connection after connection. But if we don't follow up and we don't stay persistent with that process, nothing's going to happen. And we've wasted our time. And so this follow-up process is huge. So what I love to do is whatever topic I kind of comes to mind is to really begin going out there on the internet and searching for what, just for the professionals out there, what they're saying. So what I'm about to let me see, share my screen. Okay, and I'm gonna put, if you're not on mute, just mute for a few minutes and then we're gonna come back together. I hear some background noise, so if you'll do that, that'd be great. Okay, so when I was looking at this follow-up process, I kind of started asking myself, do I do these things? So first and foremost, what does this person need? And first getting into that conversation, asking those questions. If we're just talking a talking head, we're not even going to be able to get started with this follow-up process. So first and foremost, based on my conversation with this person, what is it that they need? What's gonna open their mind? What's gonna resonate with them? And the only way we can even know what they're gonna need is if we've spent a lot of time asking questions. So the follow-up process starts with asking questions so that we know what they need. Then it's kind of back to what Allison was sharing was, okay, based on what they've told me and what I've heard from them, whether it be from a product or a business standpoint, then we know where to go to get whatever they need. And I love these reach out sharing time with each of you on this call, because each time it gives us new ideas. Because we can't just always say, well, I'll just give this, I'll just give this, I'll give this. What we want to do is tailor how we respond to someone based on what they've told us. So first, what do they need? And then we're going to give that to them. Secondly, which was surprising to me, is the comment, don't be needy. And a lot of times when I'm talking to someone and you almost hear it in their voice, maybe they're new or maybe they're feeling kind of like, oh my goodness, I've gone through all my warm market, I don't know who to talk to, yet you almost sense this neediness in their voice. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? And sometimes when we're going after a goal, maybe that can create a bit of it. But I'm here, I've felt it when I've been in that position. I've heard it when I'm talking to some other people, and it is not attractive. Everyone agree with me? And we know that feeling. I've felt it when I'm doing it, and I've felt it when when I'm hearing in their voice. We are not selling a car or a house that we get one shot. That's one of the beautiful things about Juice Plus, is better to have 20 people that I'm just dripping on, and then I'm finding out what they need, and I'm hearing more from them, and then I'm giving them something, and then I'm asking them, where do things stand? I've got about 5 people right now that I'm in that process with. And one of the gals who I sent her Juice Plus information, she wasn't really responding with me, but then I saw her post a picture where she was canning pickles. So I reached out to her and was like, oh my gosh, I saw where you're canning pickles right now. My grandmother had the best hands down pickle recipe called Florida Pickles. They're so good. Have you ever heard of that recipe? Instantly, she responded to me. And you know what? This is a referral from one of my customers who posted when she got her Juice Plus. This girl commented on my customer's post, and then my customer connected the two. So I don't know this gal at all. And so my thought process was, I was like, okay, I don't want to come across needy that, oh my gosh, I have to get you as a customer. I have to develop a relationship first. And I have to find out, what does she need? I can't come across needy, but I got to start building that relationship and step back 1 or 2 steps and develop that relationship and that camaraderie with her. So don't be needy. And when you feel yourself doing that, stop. Go wider with talking to more people versus wearing a few people out. The next thing that this article I was reading was talking about setting a specific time, you being in control. If we're like, well, I talked to them and they never called me back or responded. You know, kind of back to this, which I hadn't really thought about talking about this gal, but when she wasn't responding back to me, like I'd sent her 2 or 3 things to watch and to listen to, send her a message, hey, did you have a chance to watch XYZ? What did you like about it? Or here, I mentioned something that was in what I sent her. So make sure whatever you're sending to people, that you're actually watching it before you send it, before you end up sending, and then you've got nothing to talk about. So I'd said, hey, did you notice XYZ in whatever I sent her? When I got nothing back, that's when I was like, okay, let me step back and approach this differently. So setting a specific time, or the line on this article was either be in control and set a specific time. So being in control is you're the one who's moving the conversation. And if you're going in one direction and it's not working, go in another direction. They're not responding. So either set a specific time or be in control of that conversation. Ask what they liked or didn't like for whatever you sent them. You know, was that, and a lot of times I'll say, tell me a little bit about what's going on and why your interest is in health and nutrition. What's going on with you personally? So that I can, like another gal right now was talking about, she has endometriosis. So I'm reaching out to a couple of customers of mine who I know had endometriosis. And so what you're doing is finding out what they like, what they don't like, what they need, what's their hot buttons. And this is a process. You know, most people, and I loved in this article, it said that most of the time you don't get yes, and most of the time you don't get no. What do you get? People are thinking about it. They're open. They're not sure they want it, but they're interested. That's the norm. And so we need to lean into that. And I love that they were like, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are they? 1 being not interested at all, 10 meaning they're ready to order. So what you want to do is have that conversation to hopefully bring them to a 10, but at least bring them to a 1 or a 10 so they make a decision. And I thought, wow, but it's a process. It's a process. So asking, what was it that you liked? Or what was it about Juice Plus that got you interested? You know, are you having some health issues? The next thing, what if you're stood up? So let's just say I'm having this conversation. I'm doing that with someone right now who stood me up 3 times. But I will have to say she keeps coming back and saying, oh my gosh, I know I was supposed to connect with you. Thanks for sending me that text to remind me. Here's why I wasn't able to take your call. So be prepared to be stood up, to be ignored, to be kind of set on the back burner. Do not take it personal. This is part of the process. And think about it. Have you done that to someone? I have to be honest, I have. And usually I do respond by saying, thanks so much for thinking of me. Here's why I couldn't get back in touch with you. Can we reschedule? Or no, I'm not interested. But know that we're all guilty of that too, but it's never anything personal, is it? No, it isn't. So I think being okay with being stood up and being okay with going back to them with a different approach. So be prepared to be stood up, but also be prepared to approach it from a different angle. Then the next one, give them validation. You know, as you're having these conversations, and I found this to be so true, that people want validation for their decision. And I've been using this a lot. I think you're going to love Juice Plus, and here's why. Based on my conversations with you, here's what I think you're going to absolutely love about Juice Plus. What have I just done? I've placed validation on the product itself. I've placed validation on the fact that they need this, that this is what they're looking for. Many times people need that validation in order to move forward. I think this is going to be the best decision you've ever made for your health. I don't think, and a lot of times I'll use it, there's several million people who take Juice Plus every day. I've personally taken it for 20 years. I don't think that many people are buying a product that doesn't do something powerful in your body. I think you should give it a try. So place that validation. Let's say it's in from a business perspective. What do you have to lose? $50. At best, you're going to save money on your product, or at worst, you're going to save money on your product. At best, what if you created an income stream of $500 a month, $1,000 a month? $2,000 a month. For a $50 investment, for a $50 risk, why not? You need to do this. Give it a try. What do you have to lose? Share it with a few people. So what you're doing is placing validation on them moving forward with their decision. Then the next thing is sometimes a three-way call will be all they need, is that third-party validation. Oh my goodness, I need you to talk to, the other day I asked Brenda, would you talk to this person? You know, her whole thing is, what if Juice Plus people, I hear people get good results. What if it's just a placebo effect? And I said, well, I got some pretty major placebo effects. If that's the case, I would love for you to talk to my friend Brenda, because I knew this guy had dealt with some of the issues that Brenda had dealt with. So pulling Brenda in, they knew that Brenda didn't have any skin in the game on this. But yet Brenda, in her graciousness, got on a three-way call. I don't care what level we are. I can talk people into buying Juice Plus, but I don't want people just to buy Juice Plus. I want people who are going to stay on Juice Plus for 10, 15, 20 years, because we know that's how we build that residual income. So make sure you know people's stories. Make sure you know people you can connect with. Make sure you're listening. You're getting on that recordings Facebook group so that, oh my goodness, I know Beth Leopold just posted this video or that video, or Carol Watson. I know Allison was talking about Carol Watson doing a phenomenal talk the other day that I can't wait to go listen to. What we're doing is we're building our toolbox with so many people, articles, videos, that we have an opportunity to connect with more people. Then the next thing is line up that next exposure. Chances are you're not going to close a sale. I love how Carrie Vitiello talks about nailing the sale. You're not always able to nail the sale in the first go around. So be prepared with those exposures. Where do you go? You know, what process do you have to, one, keep track of the people you've reached out to? Number two, to keep track of what you sent them. Number three, that you know right where to go to get what you need to give them that next exposure. Never, ever, ever stop that exposure process till someone either becomes a partner or a customer, or they say, thank you so much, but I'm not interested. How many times have you got, I'm not interested? I rarely ever get that. And so what does that say to me? There's always hope. So if this person doesn't come on board as a customer or product, it's probably because I have dropped the ball and I've stopped this follow-up process, that I've given up hope. And usually I just do little marks, you know, either somewhere on, you know, in Teamsy, so that I know, oh, I've reached out to them 5 times or 10 times. I rarely ever get to 10, ever. And usually that's the kind of the frame, 1 to 10 exposures. So are you continually pouring in yourself, connecting with people, connecting with your customers, so that when you've got to give another exposure, you know right where to go? So we're going to talk about what is your process, what is your system to make sure nobody falls through the cracks, and you keep that next step going. I'm just as guilty as everyone else, but when I'm using my system to the fullest, people don't fall through the cracks. It's when I move away from my system, or I don't have a system, that's when people fall through the cracks. And then lastly, how many times has someone not become a partner or not become a customer simply because I've not asked? Most of the time, it's either because I've dropped the ball on this follow-up process, or I've not asked them for the sale or asked them to lock arms with me and join me on this mission. It's rarely, very rarely, that someone just says a flat out, I'm not interested. And So I think back to, it's a little scary when I think in this article I read that said you either want to bring people to attend, meaning yes, let's do this thing, or no, I'm not interested. That almost feels a bit uneasy to me. Anybody else? But what it does is, when he went on to talk about in this article, he said, when you respond back, I understand you're right now, health and nutrition is not on your radar, and it's not something that you're interested in, so I won't bother you anymore. He said people really don't like to know they've been just crossed off the list, or the thought of them not having any interest in health and nutrition. And I thought, okay, I get it. You know, I think we got to be careful of how we go. We don't want to act like a little kid that picks up our marbles and goes home because we're irritated. But if we handle it right, it helps them move in the direction either toward health, nutrition, this business, this opportunity, this mission, or it helps them to bring them to the point that, maybe I do need to think about, is there another way to bring in an additional income stream into the household? Is there a way that I can get healthier? Is there a way that I can fight disease? So what we've done, as my husband always said, is in a kind way, you've put a burr under their saddle. And every time they hear health, nutrition, fruits, vegetables, not getting sick, creating another income stream, they're going to remember, wow, Elaine Mason mentioned this, or Allison Hodges mentioned that, or Jennifer mentioned this, or Tish mentioned that. They're not going to forget. And surprisingly, how many people circle back around, sometimes years later, but they remembered I cared enough to invest in them and to check in with them. So I'm going to quit. I'm going to stop sharing right now, and I want to hear from you guys. I'm going to stop the recording.